Jacques Attali made his name as one of Europe's leading economists, but these days it's his observations as a futurologist that brings the crowds in. At this speech in front of hundreds of French business leaders, he warned that unless they work together on new technological innovations, rather than each fighting their own corner, they will be left behind completely within a decade. Jacques Attali launched one of the world's biggest microfinancing organizations several years before the concept really took off, and believes technology played a vital role.
Microfinance is using internet quite a lot in order to reduce the cost of intermediaries to finance the poor. Therefore, it's useful to reduce the cost of banking. It's useful to link to data which is around the world, and it's useful to transmit information by all means. It's a tremendous instrument to push the development of microfinance.
However, right now, microfinancing is facing a backlash, with accusations of strong-arm tactics from loan collectors, overinflated interest rates, and reports of the very poor being coerced into taking loans against their will. The problem has been especially acute in India, where more than 50 suicides have been linked to unscrupulous lenders. Big banks are also getting in on the action, sensing a business opportunity that focuses on the vulnerable.
Well, it's a small problem which is linked to a very specific issue in India, in some countries, which is not well controlled and where people are not using the proper techniques to do it. You are not going to get rid of credit because of subprimes.
Throughout 2010, Eurozone central bankers seem to have been holed up in crisis meetings, working out how to keep the single currency from going into complete meltdown. He may feel rather lonely right now, but in Mr. Attali's view, the opinion makers have read the situation wrong. It's not the euro facing collapse.
No. The worst problem is dollar, not euro. Euro is in a growth period. It's going to be very well. The real problem is with dollar, not with euro.
Really?
Yes.
In what sense?
Well, the worst economy in the world is the US, not the Europeans. The real problems, a country with huge debt, with huge problems, with huge deficits, more than Europe, is the US. Europe has no debt at the federal level, zero debt, while the US has $13 trillion debt.
However, he accepts the increasingly widespread view that the balance of economic power is now moving away from the West for good, but that does not necessarily mean it will be hurt by that seismic shift.
Do we have to face the fact that power has basically moved to Asia and to Brazil?
That's a fact. The relative growth of the others doesn't mean that we are going to decline. They grow and it's fine. They are going to create a new demand for us, and it's good for the future.
In fact, Jacques Attali sees threats elsewhere where the consequences could be much more severe. Take nuclear energy. At the moment, the West is trying to contain who has access. Does it have a moral right to? He says we have no choice.
There is a treaty, and this treaty has to be implemented. That's it. We cannot accept a world with more countries without democracy and nuclear weapons. A country with nuclear weapons and no democracy is the beginning of nightmare.